Hello and good morning. My name is Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network. Welcome to the Seminole Glider Port. I'm actually here today. I have the honor and the pleasure of being here with Captain Phil Rose. Captain Rose, it's nice to meet you, and thank you for being here on this gorgeous day. Now, I must ask you, before the cameras were rolling, you told me that you were from Seattle, Washington, and I think we do need to say a shout out to your family because this is streaming live. To your children, you have 3 children and your wife at home, and they're not here enjoying this gorgeous weather. So what brings you here to Florida?
Well, they got to come last week.
They did.
So they had a little sun and fun at that time.
Okay, very good.
We're just down here enjoying the Florida hospitality and the sunshine. It's wonderful.
Fabulous. And sweet tea.
Oh, yeah. I had some of that last night.
Did you? We have sweet tea here. Now tell me, you are actually one of the, Captain Phil, you are one of the competitors.
Yes.
Here. And what are you flying? And I'm learning, I'm new to aviation. I'm a student pilot myself. So can you tell me a little bit about your glider and about the sport? Is it what class it's in? I know it's based on the gliders. And can you tell me a little bit about that? And I know your briefing is coming up very shortly, so our time with you is about this much. So can you talk to us a little bit about your glider and what you're going to be flying today?
Yeah, it's a Windward Performance Sparrowhawk.
Okay.
And I'm only flying as a guest because I'm under age 55, and this is the seniors. So
it is the 24th annual Action Seniors Champion, and you're too young.
I get to fly with some very talented, experienced pilots, and that's why I'm here. It's very learn a lot from those guys. So the Sparrowhawk is a produced by Windward Performance. It's an American-made glider out of Bend, Oregon, and it is basically the smallest and lightest glider at this contest. It's made of 100% carbon fiber, basically, and it has pretty good performance. So it's a delight to fly. I've flown maybe 30 or 40 different types of gliders, and this is the most enjoyable glider I've ever flown.
Now, is this your glider that you brought, or can you tell me, is that something?
I have to thank Trig Adams for he's a Florida aviator as well.
I figured we needed to do a shout out. I figured it didn't come from Seattle.
Yes, and Trig Adams and his wife Molly have let me borrow their glider, which has been very nice of them, and hopefully we can put a good performance contest in there for them, you know.
Awesome. Now, I have to ask, because obviously we're all about aviation, and we're all about, we need more pilots, and we need the young people to catch that love of aviation, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, what is your background, and what was that thing that hooked you and got you into aviation? Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, I started flying when I was 16, and then wanted to go fly commercial airliners, and then I went to the Air Force Academy and started flying gliders there at age 18, and then went on to military flying and flew the F-15, F-16, and the F-22. And then I got out and flew for the airlines as well.
Awesome. And do you still fly for the airlines?
Yes, I do.
Currently. Awesome. And so this is a break for you. This is a little bit of a vacation?
Exactly. But it's a flying vacation, so people are like, you work and then you go fly after you work. They don't understand that sometimes.
You love aviation. Now let me ask you, I know, did you fly yesterday?
Yes.
And what was the route that you flew yesterday? And do you know, I know each day it's different. Do you know, what did you fly yesterday? What route did you fly? And what are you going to be flying today? Do you know?
Don't know yet. We're going to find out once we get out to the line. Yesterday was basically down Highway 27 towards Frostproof, and then up to Green Swamp, flying Barren, and then back to here.
Okay. And I would be remiss again if I didn't ask, how did you do?
I think I was around the middle third of the pack, something like that. I was hoping to do a little bit better, but okay.
And now I have to ask you, with the Sparrowhawk, I'm new to the soaring society. I'm new to the sport of soaring. Can you talk to me a little bit about the Sparrowhawk? I know we've got an Arcus here. We also, and you were saying you fly Sparrowhawk, correct? Can you tell me a little bit about the classes and the differences? And you were saying that the Sparrowhawk is very light. It's one of the lightest.
Yes.
Can you talk to our audience and to me and educate me a little bit about the classes when it comes to gliding?
Basically, this contest is a combined class, so we use handicap, so a really good glider will have...
Like in golf?
Yep, a good glider will have a very low handicap, and then a smaller glider with less performance like mine will have a larger handicap. So the scores will kind of balance out if you're flying relatively the same type of task.
Okay.
The different types of classes for this glider in particular that I'm flying, they measure them by wingspan, so maybe 15 meter or
Okay.
18 meter class, or then they have an open class which allows you to fly just anything that you can put in the sky.
Okay.
And all gliders could fly in that class. And then,
Okay.
of course, all gliders are allowed to fly here because we're using the handicap system.
So this would be an open.
The one I'm actually flying weighs 155 pounds empty. So it's extremely light, and
It is.
it actually qualifies as a light sport aircraft for the
Okay.
gliders. And it requires no registration. It requires no license to fly it, and you don't have to do a lot of no medical. So if you wanted to have the pure joy of flying, that would be it. Another thing too, I think that would be good for the pure joy of flying would be, getting into aviation for the younger folks like they
Right.
do. Gosh, if you could just get a couple of these Sparrowhawks and put them in a club and have someone sponsor that, you'd have students that can solo at age 14.
I was going to say, what is the
Okay.
age? It would be
So
14.
between the ages of 14 and 18, when they're in high school and they're learning how to fly, this Sparrowhawk will teach you so much about flying. I mean, I really attribute a lot of my abilities in aviation to learning how to fly in stick and rudder gliders.
Because that's what it is. It's stick and rudder flying.
It's fantastic. It's like flying a fighter at some point, you know.
Wow.
So it's really, really good. I think that would be a good way to develop the sport some, and aviation in general. Then they can move on to power planes or whatever. But they'll always come back to this.
Really?
And the beauty about this contest here is that the older you get in flying gliders, the
Right.
better you get. It's not like the PGA, where the PGA seniors are really good, but they're not as good as the current
They
Tiger
lose the
Woods.
edge,
And, you know what I
right.
mean? But in this sport, the older you get, the better you are. And that's why these competitors here are the best in the world.
Now, you mentioned something that intrigued me. Someone obviously with your experience and your expertise, and yet even as an expert, and we had Tom. I've had several guests that keep saying knowledge is power, and I heard you say, and this is a great message for our audience and for students. I'm a teacher, so I'm an educator by trade. Is, as you said, you're still learning, and you're learning from the experts. And it sounds like even today, when we have the 24th annual senior championships here at the Seminole Glider Port, sounds like there's a great mentorship. The Soaring Society of America is a wonderful community of education and educating each other. Are you willing to speak to that a little bit?
Having been a CFI and gliders before myself, I think it's a great community for teaching. Yesterday I was looking for a little bit of mentorship myself, and guy steps forward and says, "Hey, I'll tell you a few things and I'll show you a way around," and it was great. So that's that contribution, along with many people in the SSA who are contributing dollars and time and effort to keep the sport not only safe but growing and fun, and that's what really makes it
It's got to
happy.
be fun.
Yeah.
It's got to be fun. Now, I have a question for you. Can you tell us a little bit more? I know a lot of times there's so many projects going on that we don't hear about, and there's just so much information on the internet and so many things that we can look at. Windward Performance has quite a few projects going on, and I know your time is short, but would you be willing to tell us a little bit about those projects?
Oh yeah, I'm not a spokesman for the company,
Okay.
although I am flying one of their
But
gliders.
you slept in a Holiday Inn Express, didn't you?
Yeah, last night.
Last night.
Windward has a really advanced manufacturing process with carbon fiber materials.
Okay.
And whether you see the 787 or an F-22, that's a very advanced design and construction process. So with that process, they have a ship that's supposedly going to try to cross the Atlantic. It's called the Elantic, and it's going to be an electric airplane, and it's going to cross the Atlantic. So that may be something to think about, because you'll see several electrically powered self-launching gliders here. So that may be something in the future of aviation to think about. They are designing the Perlan glider, which is a very long wingspan glider that's pressurized, and it's projected to go over 90,000 feet. So that's going to be a research platform for students in school, that while this is flying, they may be able to even interact with the crew as it's airborne at 90,000 feet, which it will set a record, hopefully, for the highest aircraft flying.
Now, where are they in the production? Where are they as far as in the timeline? Can you? I don't know.
I'm
if
not
you can
sure.
Speak to that.
I'm not sure. I think it's they're still looking for funding for it, and they have quite a bit of, they've maybe they're halfway through it or so. So it's not just a design on I mean, it has.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's being built right now.
Okay.
And it will fly most likely in Argentina, and the wave in Argentina, and it's going to fly very, very high, hopefully above 90,000 feet. And that takes a very special wing design to land on the ground and then also not be supersonic when it's flying up really high.
Right.
And then another project that I'm in a partnership with, where I'm going to purchase one of their aircraft, is the Duck Hawk. And
okay,
the Duck
and
Hawk,
what is that? Is it anything like what you're flying in the Sparrowhawk?
Yes, it is. It has a very similar fuselage, except it has 15-meter wings.
Okay.
And it has a very advanced airfoil
And the
design.
Sparrowhawk, what is the wingspan?
Just under 11.
11, okay.
So it's a very small wingspan. But the Duck Hawk is a 15-meter racing glider, but it also can do very high-speed flight, and it will most likely, in my opinion, set some world records at some point. I don't know. We haven't been able to test it. I've never flown it, but I hope to fly it soon.
Okay.
We've got one on order, and it should be done in August.
Where are they being manufactured?
Bend, Oregon.
So that is also in Bend, Oregon.
And it has some really interesting features like electric flaps, and there's testing being done for an automatic flap controller, so that whenever you're flying, it senses the angle of attack and the airspeed and the g-forces, and it tries to keep the wing at optimum wing camber. So when you go slow, the flaps go down automatically. You don't think about it. You don't have to adjust them. And when you go fast, of course, many racing gliders will have actually even negative flaps, so the wing camber will get lower.
Wow. And that's something that you are involved with. Now, you've yet to fly one.
I'm just going to be one of the partners to buy one, yes.
That is fabulous. Wow. And now let me ask you, so you do you know what route you're going to, you do not know, do you know the route today? You do not know what you're going to be doing today?
We'll probably find out here in a couple minutes.
You're going to find out?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much. It's fabulous. Captain Phil Rose, thank you
Lori,
so much
thank you
for joining us. This is fabulous. And thank you for your message, not only to the young and old alike, and thank you for sharing your gifts and your talents with us today. I'm Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network. We're here at the Seminole Lake Glider Port for the 24th Annual Senior Championships, which Captain Rose cannot compete in because he's too young, but he is going to be a guest today. Please, it is open to the public, and as he mentioned, many of the pilots that are here today, unless they're in the air, they're getting, I'm hearing planes now, they're getting ready. We've seen gliders on parade behind us. We'd love to have you come down and visit and speak to the pilots. Again, I'm Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network.